Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. It's Friday night. It's time for the number one card in Marvel Snap. That card is, right now, She Hulk. If you agree, let me know right below in the comments. If you disagree, same thing. Or you can find us on Twitter at SnapJudgeCast. Let us know what you think about the number one card in Marvel Snap, She Hulk. I think that this card is absolutely bonkers. It recently lost one power, and it barely slowed this card down. This is already the number 4 seen card in all of Marvel Snap, with the number 7 win rate when drawn. That's absolutely crazy for a 6 cost card. This card gets 1 cheaper for each unspent energy last turn, which means it is extraordinarily easy to play in numerous combos and fit into almost any deck. If you unlock She Hulk early, and I strongly urge that you do, I don't usually weigh in on buying things outside of Thanos and Galactus, which are worth it, but if you've gotten a Season 3 unlock, using that on She Hulk is just a good idea. Here's what I would do with She Hulk if it were early pull 3. I would throw it into a Devil Dino Moon Girl package. The reason for this is that early on, you can fundamentally you can play the Devil Dino game plan just fine. Alternatively, you can Moon Girl with a She Hulk in hand, and then you have a multitude of options. If you've played Hood, and Titania's just as good as Hood here, it doesn't matter which you play, you can go She Hulk, 18 power, Hood, 12 power. That is a crazy last turn in terms of power. You can also go, if you skip that last turn, uh, 2 1 cost She Hulks and a Shang-Chi, adding 18 power to the board and taking their stuff out. Ideally, Sunspot gains some energy when you do this, and if you're forced to play a fairer game, then your Devil Dino into Shang-Chi or She Hulk should be just fine. You can also, by the way, just pass that turn, get some extra power on Sunspot, then play Devil Dino and She Hulk on the last turn. Absolutely stellar. This deck slowly but surely morphs into this one by the end game. I've played a lot of this. My version actually runs Carnage in place of Viper, and I think I cut armor for something or other, but it's basically the same deck. This deck is, again, trying to get that double She Hulk combo off, this one choosing to either Shuri or Moon Girl to get the most out of She Hulk. You can double She Hulk for 18 power, or you can Shuri She Hulk for 18 power. You're getting a little less the Moon Girl way if you don't have Taskmaster, but otherwise the Moon Girl way, if you don't see Taskmaster, is just straight up better. Absolutely stellar, only really stopped by Sandman. Otherwise, this is an absolute nightmare for opponents to contest. She's also good in Zoo decks. You can play a Moon Girl Zoo. You can play just a bunch of extra 1-drops, things that generate 1-drops, and then you can top end with She Hulk. This is again really friendly to early pool 3 players because Maria Hell and Quinjet are in no way really necessary. If you don't have Quinjet though, you probably don't want Sentinel. It's close, but again, this deck is basically built off comboing off of She Hulk, pulling one thing out of the way, and then saying, I've got all this power to play on the last turn. America Chavez adds consistency. You can also end up with a fairly similar deck running Moon Girl She Hulk along with Magic and Psylocke to basically, on turn 7, play 2 She Hulks and an Infinite if you've gotten Magic off. You can also, if you turn 4 Psylocke and something else, literally anything like Goose, you can play She Hulk and Infinite alone on turn 6. Ideally, you have Sunspot out. Something like Goose here does a really good job. This deck does amazingly, especially for a deck not running Valkyrie or Shang-Chi, at handling an opponent's Red Skull, because Infinite's one of the few cards that can contest that card, and you've got better cards all along the curve otherwise, and then She Hulk sneaking under that Goose usually wins that lane. Insane power. Does require quite a few pull 3 cards, but it's stellar. We've got 2 more decks to look at. We're going to first look at this Doom Deathwave. This is one of the key cards in the meta. It also doesn't require a ton to unlock. Basically, as long as you have Wave, She-Hulk, and Death, this is playable. Doom and Arrow are nice, but not requirements. The idea here is to wave, and there's versions of this that run just more priority stuff and ignore the Death package, but you want to wave, and then you want to play either She-Hulk or Death on the last turn along with one of your other expensive cards. Iceman is in this version. I tend to run America here for a little more consistency, but you get the idea as far as why She-Hulk is so strong. If your opponent is not planning for a wave, they can play one card. You can play two, one, well, maybe even three if you've killed enough, have She-Hulk and Death. But you can play a 9 and then 15 power across the board, a 9 and then pull their one card wherever you want, etc., etc. Insanely powerful combo. Finally, we have She-Hulk Lockjaw as one of the best decks in the game. For Lord knows what reason, people have stopped playing this. It did see a nerf, but if you check its numbers, its win rate hasn't actually gone down all that much. It's running Vision in a concession to Lockjaw, basically saying, I need extra space. I'd also be considering Nightcrawler here over a card. Um, in this case, very likely either Arrow or Blue Marvel, for the exact same reason. Nightcrawler has the benefit of going into Lockjaw too, but if it comes out of Lockjaw, just pulling it out of the way is extremely useful in terms of maximizing your Lockjaw. You have all the one drops from Thanos, and at this point, just being able to be like, oh, I played 2 stones and now I have extra energy, and you just casually drop a 9 power She Hulk is one of the stronger things you can do. And that last comment is why She Hulk is so strong, because you don't have to build a deck around her. You can, and we see several decks that do build around her. But the Thanos deck is why she's so strong, because you can, in addition to building around her, you have to build around Sarah. You have to build around Shuri. You can just say, well, this deck sometimes has some extra energy. The curve isn't tight. Sometimes I miss things. Well, Sunspot, our number 9 card, and She-Hulk are both absolutely stellar at turning that missed energy into one games. Being able to play off curve and benefit from it are the true power of these 2 cards. All right, that's our number 1 card in all of Marvel Snap. It is She-Hulk. Be sure to check back later, next week for a giant tier list of all the decks in the meta with Vin Kelsier of SnapFen. Be sure to check back all of next week for a Snap Take every single day. Let us know what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you like and don't like in the comments. Like and sub, and we'll see you on Monday morning.